Hi all, welcome to our YouTube channel. So today onwards we are going to start our economic classes. So we know the world economy is undergoing through a serious disease called corona. So most of our students across the globe are unable to go to their regular classes in schools. So to support them, I decided to start this channel. So we are going to start our first class from demand and supply chapter. So I hope this channel will be helpful for all of you to get a better grade in O-level economics exam. So let's start our class. So the learning outcomes of our today's class are understand what is demand curve, factors influencing demand, increase in demand, decrease in demand. Okay, so this much area we'll be discussing in our first day session. Okay, so all of you please follow on a regular basis. We will update you videos every day as much as possible, and with the you please note down the notes in in a regular basis, okay, in a normal notebook, so it will helpful for you to revise the things easily. So let's start, right? So we are going to start our class with the definition of demand. So what is it? Demand is the desire to purchase a product or services backed up by an ability and willingness to pay for the product. So what does it mean? In simple way, we can define demand as it is the ability and willingness to buy a product at a given market price. Okay, is it clear? Demand is the ability and willingness to buy a product at a given market price. Okay, so what are the conditions for demand? Ability and willingness. Both should be there. Ability should be there as well as willingness also should be there. Okay, then the next point is when we look the demand curve, we can see the demand curve is downward sloping. What is the reason for that? We can see there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demand for a normal product. So we are drawing the demand curve by considering a normal product. Okay, so when we take a normal product, we can see there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demand. Okay, that is when the price is more, customers will reduce the demand, and when the price is less, customers will increase the demand, right? So for example, when the price of a chocolate is less in the market, you will buy it more. When the price of the same chocolate is more, what you will be doing? You will reduce the quantity of purchase, right? So the simple logic. Okay, so because of that inverse relationship, demand curve is downward sloping, right? So I hope you understood why the demand curve is downward sloping, right? Okay, let's go to the next slide. So in this video or in this slide, you can see demand schedule. What is demand schedule? Demand schedule is a tabular way of representing price and corresponding demand. Okay, tabular way of representing price along with the demand, okay, at each prices. In this particular table, you can see price as well as quantity demand. When the price is $5, a person demanded 2 quantity of a product. When the price increased reduced to 4, the person increased the demand to 4. Again, when the price is 3, he purchased 6 quantity. When the price is 2, he purchased 8 quantity. When the price is 1, he purchasing 10 quantity of the product. So what we can understand from here, when the price is going down, demand for a normal good will increase in the market, right? So a tabular way of representing the demand along with the price is known as what? Demand schedule. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So when we draw the tabular representation in a graph with what x-axis, in the x-axis, what is x-axis means? The horizontal axis, right? In the horizontal axis we will be marking the quantity demanded, and in the y-axis, that is the vertical axis, we will be marking the price. So when we mark price and quantity demand in the graph, and when we connect those points, we will get a demand curve, right? So that demand curve will be downward sloping. Okay, so what you understood from here, the demand curve is drawing with the help of a demand schedule, right? So first we will be having a demand schedule, and that we will be converting into a demand curve. Okay. And now we are going to see what are the different factors influencing demand. There are various factors which influencing demand, right? We can see the first factor is price of the product. We already discussed it, right? In the case of price, we can see an inverse relationship with the demand. That is, when the price goes up, for a normal product we will reduce the demand, right? So then because of that we can see there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demand. The second factor is disposable income. Disposable income means what? The income available for a person after reducing or deducting compulsory payments of the nation, okay, state. Compulsory payment from his salary will be deducted. So after that, what is available with the person is known as disposable income, right? So disposable income is an important factor which influencing demand, right? So here, that is the second factor. When the disposable income is more, we will purchase more, or when we will demand more, right? But at the same time, when your disposable income is less, we will be demanding less, right? So there is what kind of relationship in the case of disposable income? In the case of disposable income, we can see an direct relationship. That is, when the disposable income is more, you will be demanding more. When the disposable income is less, you will be demanding less. Okay, so that is in the case of disposable income. Then price of other products or other goods, that is the third factor mentioned here. Price of related commodity, otherwise we can say price of related commodities. Means what? The commodities which are related to our product. So there are two kinds of related commodities, that are substitute good and complementary good. Okay, substitute good means what? Those goods which we can use one in the place of another. For example, two brands of pen. Okay, instead of one brand you can use the another brand. So we can say that those two commodities are close substitutes, right? Or two different flavors of juices available in the market, they are close substitute, right? So if the price of one product increase, you can easily buy the another one and satisfy your requirement, right? So such commodities are known as substitute good. And at the same time, complementary goods are there. What is meant by complementary good? Those are goods which has a joint demand, that is, we will use such products together. For example, a car and petrol. Without petrol we can't use a car, right? So I'm talking about petrol car. So we need petrol to use the car. So car and petrol is an example of complementary good. So when the price of petrol is going up, we will reduce the hours of drive of car, right? Understood? So when the price of a complementary good goes up, our products demand will also be affected negatively, right? There is an inverse relationship, price of complementary good and demand for the product, right? Okay, so the substitute good and complementary good we will be discussing separately in the next slide. So we will have a detailed discussion there. So that is the third factor, right? Price of the product, disposable income, price of related commodities, and the next factor is taste and fashion. Taste and fashion, we know nowadays, taste and fashion, the fashion is changing now every now and then, so it has an effect on the demand, right? So if we are producing a product which is up to the fashion, the current trend, it will have enough demand, right? And at the same time, if the product is an outdated one, the demand will be less, right? So taste and fashion has a direct relationship with the demand, right? Then population, obviously you know, right? So in the case of population, what will happen when the population is more, demand will be more. When the population is less, demand will be less. So there is a direct relationship. Advertising, so what will happen in the case of advertising? So when the organization spend and invest on advertising, what will happen? Automatically organization will be getting more customers, right? Advertisement is a way of giving awareness about the product, right? So it will increase demand of that particular product. Okay, so these are some factors which influencing demand, right? And let's go to the next slide. Yeah, so here we can see in detail what is happening in the case of substitute good and complementary good. So let's read the definition of substitute good. A substitute product is that can be used in the place of another, right? So substitute goods are those goods which we can use one in the place of another. So here we can say example is given, Coke price and Pepsi. So when the price of Coke is going up, demand for Pepsi will also be increasing in the market, right? So there is a direct relationship. And in the case of complementary good, what is happening? So complementary goods has what such goods which has a joint demand, right? Which has a joint demand. So in the case of a product, let's take butter and jam. Oh, there is a mistake. So did you identified it? It's not a complementary product, right? Butter and jam, we can say it is substitute products. So there is a mistake in the PPT, please note it. Okay, so complementary good, we can say butter and change it into bread and butter. So that is what complementary good, right? Bread and butter. Instead of jam, you make it is bread. Okay, butter and bread. Okay, so when the price of butter is going up, what will happen? Demand for bread will reduce, right? So complementary good means which has a joint demand, that is we will be using one along with the other. So butter and bread, not jam. Okay, note down, there is a correction. Demand for bread, make it is bread. So when the price of butter is going up, demand for bread will reduce, because it's an example what will happen there. So we consume bread and butter together. When the price of butter is going up, so we can't have bread. So that is the logic. So there what will happen? Demand for bread will be reduced. Okay, I hope you understood what is substitute good and complementary good. So substitute good means what? Goods which we can use one in the place of another, that is substitute good. Complementary good means what? Goods which has joint demand, complementary, joint demand. So we will be consuming such goods together. Okay. And the next concept associated with demand is the law of diminishing marginal utility. What does it mean? That is, you imagine you are very hungry. Okay, you are hunger, and you need to have something. Okay, you need to have something. You got a particular product, you take mango. Okay, you purchased one piece of mango for 5 rupiah, okay, or $5. You are very hungry and there is no other option, so you're forced to buy a piece of mango or a mango for $5, and you had it Again, you feel like I need one more because your stomach is not fully filled, so or your hunger is not fully satisfied, so you are going to have the next piece of mango. So you are going to have the next piece. For that also you paid $5. Again you are going to have, you are feeling to have one more piece, but it is not that much needed, but you are having the third piece, paying the same $5. Okay, so that is the situation. So what you will be feeling in this particular case? So the first piece of mango, that is you paid $5 and having the first piece of mango will definitely give you more satisfaction. That is when you compare the money what you spend and the mango, it will give you more satisfaction, right? Because you are that much hunger at that particular point of time. But in the second case, what is happening? Your hunger is somewhat satisfied, but you are going to have the next piece. But you are paying $5 and having the same, but it may not give the same satisfaction which given by the first piece. And in the case of third piece of mango, what will happen? Again, you are paying $5 and having the mango, but it will give you less satisfaction because you are always comparing the value of money what you spend on the product and the satisfaction what the product is giving to you, right? So the law of diminishing marginality says that when we consume a product repeatedly without any break, the psychological satisfaction what you derive from the product will fall from each unit of consumption. Understood? That is, when you consume a product without any gap, your psychological satisfaction will go down from each additional unit of consumption. Okay, so that law is known as what? Law of diminishing marginal utility. That is, the first unit will give you more satisfaction, then second unit comparatively less, again third unit comparatively less, again fourth unit comparatively less. Like that your satisfaction will be going down. Okay, so that particular law is known as what? Law of diminishing marginal utility. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Yeah, then change in demand. Okay, there are two types of changes in demand, that are movement along with the same demand curve and movement to a different demand curve. Okay, so first we are in this particular slide, what you are seeing is movement along with the same demand curve. That is, let's take the point A, that is the original point. Okay, the price of the product is $3 and the demand is $6, right? And I'm going to explain what is contraction of demand. Okay, first I'm going to explain contraction of demand. Okay, when the price of a product increase in the market, quantity demand will fall. Okay, when the price of a product increase in the market, quantity demand will be reduced. So that will show a upward shift in the demand curve. Okay, that will show an upward shift in the demand curve. That is a movement from point A to B. Okay, so there what is happening? The price increased from in the market from $3 to $4, right? So B means what is the price? It is $4. As a result, the quantity demand reduced to what? 4 from 6, right? So that is known as what? Contraction of demand. Due to an increase in the price, quantity demanded reduced. Okay, that is known as contraction of demand. And the just opposite, extension of demand, means when the price of a product reduce in the market, quantity demand will increase. So that is a what? Downward movement on the demand curve. So that is from point A to the next bullet. That is, we can take when the price reduced from $3 to $2, what's happened? The demand increased from 6 to 8 quantity, right? That is to the downward. So extension means what? An upward movement along with the demand curve, and contraction shows a downward movement along with the same demand curve. Okay, so the extension and contraction are showing with the help of same demand curve. Okay, that's what you have to remember. The extension and contraction of demand is showing with the help of same demand curve. Extension means downward movement along with the same demand curve. Contraction means upward movement along with the same demand curve. Okay. Now we are going to see what is increase and decrease in demand. So increase in demand means it is a forward shift in the demand curve. That is from demand curve 1 to demand curve 2. What is happening? The demand curve is parallelly shifted to the right. So what is happening there? You take one price, that is $2. The initial demand is what? At $2 is 8 quantity. Now it is increased to 10 quantity. So the price is the same but demand increased, right? Price is same, $2, but demand increased from 8 quantity to 10 quantity. So that is known as increase in demand. The price is constant but the demand is increased. So what does it mean? Due to some other reason other than price, when the demand increases, it is known as increase in demand. So increase in demand will show a forward shift on the demand curve. Okay, and the just opposite is what? Decrease in demand curve. So decrease in demand curve means at the same price the quantity demand is reducing. So decrease in demand will show the just opposite of increase in demand. It will show a backward shift on the demand curve. Okay, that is decrease in demand. Increase in demand means what? It's a forward shift in demand. That is, along with this, in the same price, more quantity of a product is demanding. But decrease in demand means what? At the same price, less quantity of a product is demanding. Okay, so that's about increase and decrease in demand. So we are going to wind up our first session here. So I hope you understood what is demand, what are different factors influencing demand, what is demand schedule, then what is law of diminishing marginal utility, increase and decrease in demand. So if you have any further doubts, please comment. I will clarify it. Okay, thank you. Please revise the notes properly and ask me doubts on a frequent basis, and make sure that you are writing the notes properly in the same notebook, else you will misplace it. So use a same notebook every day and note down it carefully. Okay, thank you. Have a great day.